Hi folks, on this episode of Hit the Mahogany we're going to take a little trip back in time. 1920s, actually I think this one first appeared around about 1960, 16 I should say, in the Detroit Athletic Club. Hold on, I'm the one that's going to have the last word here, alright? Less of it. So, guess what? We are going to be doing the last word. Okay. So thankfully, maybe one of the few times that you can actually maybe say to your better half, you know what, you always get the last word, is when you're actually getting them the last word cocktail. So this one, as I mentioned, it's a Prohibition era one, but it was potentially developed a little bit earlier, in 1916, at the Detroit Athletic Club. And this one has chartreuse, green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, and whatever base gin that you're actually looking to use in this one. Now, chartreuse, been made by the Carunthian Monks in France since 1737. This is a mixture of 130 different herbs. It's got a very sweet smell to it. I should say it's very sweet, but with the herbs in there's a little bit of bitterness comes through at the end. You know, it was meant to be originally an elixir. Trust the monks to come up with something like that. But I think they needed it because they certainly went through quite a rough time themselves, as they were kicked out of France, allowed back into France. So an interesting little bit of history about how the Carunthian monks were actually treated. Chartreuse, still made though, thankfully, and apparently only 2 monks at a time know the actual recipe. So let's hope they're not on the same motorbike at the same time in case there's actually an accident. But we've got it and we still get it. There's a yellow version as well, much lighter, a little bit sweeter as well, but this one actually wants the green chartreuse. Maraschino liqueur. This is a great one. I love anything that's cherry flavours, anything that's like marzipan. This is actually distillate made with Marasca cherries. Absolutely fantastic flavour. Again, sweet, but then there's a little bit of a sourness comes through at the end. You can get the sourness of those kind of the sour bitter cherries, the Marasca cherries. Now they actually grow wild on the Dalmatian coast, but again, great liqueur there. These can be drunk by themselves. I don't generally. I've been using them in the cocktails more than anything else. And then we have, I'm using the Nika Coffee Gin. You could probably use something like the Botanist as well. It's a Scottish one. Hey, come on, I've got to put that in there as well. Something that's pretty heavy on the botanicals. This one actually has, so this is Japanese, 11 herbs and botanicals. I think this one seems to pair very well with the chartreuse. It's got some traditional things in it. Angelica is certainly one of those flavours, and then it has the Japanese, I'm trying to think, Japanese pancho pepper. I think it's one of the little peppers. There's a little bit of pepperness in the back end there. It's really nice as well. Okay, so it's absolutely, this is a real, as you can tell, I have been drinking this just as a gin and tonics and be using this in the cocktail. But it's a really nice gin, so give that one a shot. Okay. Simple. Oh, and a lime goes in there as well. So a really simple one is equal parts everything. That's it. If you've got everything, of course. So usually if you actually look at the standard recipe, it's 3/4 of a fluid ounce for that. I found using 3/4, it's a little bit on the cheap side for the actual cocktail itself. So I just, since it's all equal parts, I just up it to 1 ounce, and that seems to be actually a better size. Certainly for me, but whatever you want, you know, try that yourself, okay? So we will go with 1 ounce of gin. Now, just as I'm doing this, you'll notice the name there, Nika Coffee Gin. Actually, I'm not even quite sure how it should be pronounced, the coffee, and I'm sure a lot of people will be looking at that sort of thinking, coffee? Really? What does that actually mean? That's my 1 ounce of maraschino liqueur. So coffee, it's actually named after Amos Coffey, who he improved on the column still. So a lot of whiskies, particularly Scottish, a lot of Scottish whiskies, a lot of malts, single malts, a few whiskies throughout the world use the pot still, which is where all your liquid is put into one pot. It's boiled. Off comes the alcohol. There's a lot more to it than that. You got condensation, and that's it. And then you throw the rest away. Or that wash, you could maybe add it to another wash as well. So there's still some alcohol within there. Now with the column still, it's actually a continuous process, and it's a slightly different flavour. They can actually get the alcohol content up to, I think, close to just over 90%, whereas a pot still, I'm trying to remember, may only be around about 60% as well. Plus there's different components within there that are easier to remove from the alcohol from using a column still. I can't remember what the term is for it, but it's allegedly those chemicals that they suspect generate hangovers. For myself, it's usually just the quantity. Anyway, so that's why coffee, so I'm assuming they use column stills for the distillation process of the base spirit in that one. Okay, 1 ounce of our green chartreuse. Now of course this cocktail is naturally green, a little bit from the lime juice, but clearly a little bit more from the chartreuse there. Alright, got lime juice here I've already squeezed. Just keep it in one of these little containers, makes it nice and easy for all the cocktails that we're making. 1 ounce of lime juice. Okay, add some ice. Where is my, oh, it's up here, silly Billy. Let's get some ice in here. We'll be making one of these tonight. You know what, I'm on my lonesome, so I'll just have one. I might have another one later on, but I'm not going to make 2 at the same time. I want to keep these nice and chilled. Alright, ice in there, cap on, let's give this one a shake. And done. Cold! Alright, let's get this one poured in. Off we get. It's got a nice clean colour, this one. Just that hint of green there within it. And as you can see, I mean, these are pretty large glasses, but you can tell if this was down at that 3/4 size, it would be a little bit of a cheap size for the cocktail. Alright, that's it. And then, well, you know what? We've got maraschino liqueur. Why not use a Luxardo maraschino cherry? And here we go. And what I like to do is when I drop that on there, we get a little bit of the juice just dropping off, and can sometimes, depending on how much juice you've got going in there, you can add just a nice little bit of colour as it streaks through the cocktail there. Just adds a nice little touch. Okay, done that, got it in there. I'm just going to have to take the cherry off this one. Sorry about that. As I said, I've got the last word with this one anyway. I just love those. Alright, let's give this one a taste. You know what? If you like Negronis, or you fancy trying a Negroni, but you think it's a little bit too bitter, but you don't like sweet cocktails, and you do like something that's maybe a little bit, I'm trying to think, maybe a little bit more meat and potatoes, I think this would actually fit in pretty nicely. With the chartreuse, got that herbaceous burst coming through there on the front. It's not bitter, and it's not grassy. You know, it's a good solid flavour. And then you got the maraschino liqueur. You just feel that there's a little that sweetness coming into the back end, and you got that flavour for the maraschino just coming through. And then you've got the base gin. You know it's there. It's not hiding it. Even although these are strong tasting, this gin can actually stand up well to it. It's just coming through really nicely at the end. And then the lime juice just actually pulls it all together. I can actually picture it just now. You've got these three things and it's all encapsulated. Maybe a Venn diagram, who knows. It's all encapsulated and the lime juice just pulls it all together. You know what, this is just a... Oh, it's delicious. It really is. If you do like a lot of the liqueurs that you get in every country, virtually every country does the equivalent of something like that, and you like that flavour, you'll love this. If you're not too into it, then this cocktail is probably a good introduction because you've got so many other flavours going on in there. Anyway, I could keep on going since I have got the last word tonight. Anyway, everybody, enjoy your last words. It's certainly well worth pushing it to see if you can get the last word in. Cheers.